Hello, and welcome to lgtm on Cloud Native TV. Hello, and welcome to lgtm on Cloud Native TV. I'm your host, David Flanagan. You may know me as Rockwood across the wide internet. This is a Cloud Native official live stream, part of the CNCF, and as such is subject to the CNCF Code of Conduct. So please do not post anything to the chat or questions that would be in violation of this Code of Conduct. Essentially, just be respectful, be nice of myself, of my guest, and everyone else in the chat, and we're going to have a good time. LGTM is all about providing resources to help you get more familiar and be able to contribute to cloud native projects. And today we're doing that for Litmus. To guide us through today's session, I am joined by one of the members of the Litmus team, Prithvi. Hey man, how are you?
Hey David, hey everyone. It's been great. Thanks a lot for hosting this. I love the community work that you have been doing, and it's an absolute pleasure to be joining this episode of LGTM.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I'm really excited to have you join us today. I think Litmus is such a cool project. And, there was some massive news this week with a new release. Do you want to, well, first, actually, why don't you tell us a little bit about you? Why don't we learn about Prithvi and then we'll talk about Litmus?
Sure. Thanks. Hello everyone. This is Prithvi here. A lot of you might have seen me at a few events here and there, KCD Africa or Bangalore, and then of course in the community. If you are part of the Litmus community already, so you know me as the community manager for the project. I started off being a community manager of this project approximately 1.5 years ago, and at Maya Data, and now I'm at Chaos Native working on the project, leading the community, all the traction and everything around it. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. Alongside that, obviously in the CNCF ecosystem, I've been organizing chaos engineering meetups every last Saturdays of the month. So in case you have ever joined in or you look forward to join in, then it's at community.cncf.io, the chaos engineering group, and you can join in and learn a lot more about chaos and Litmus chaos. So that's about me.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So, do you want to give us the high level overview of Litmus and share the news about the new release this week as well?
Sure. So first, I think we can talk about the release, of course. So Litmus 2.0 is in GA right now. It's out there. We were in beta for almost 3 months, and the idea behind beta was obviously getting community feedback, community inputs. I think a project is incomplete without the community, of course. The maintainers and the contributors are there, but it took 3 months for us to move from beta to GA only because there was a lot of feedback that was necessary. And 2.0 is out now, and it's already receiving a lot of amazing feedback. So feel free to join in the community. We'll talk about the community later on, the Slack community, but yeah, 2.0 is out there. So looking forward to for more feedback and reviews and your valuable comments on that.
Yeah, there's also two videos, I think, hands on with Litmus 2 already available. There's one from my own channel, which I'll plug. So, the Rockcode Academy, available at rockcode.live. And there's also another video with Siam Pathak, which is also available on YouTube. Siam also hosts Cert Magic on CNTV. So, we're all one big, happy,
And
friendly community working together.
indeed, I think the community support has been awesome. Siam, you yourself, and then there are so many folks. Bart has been doing amazing
Yeah,
job.
Bart is
Dan,
awesome.
I think, yeah. So they all have been supportive to the project. And another video, I think, by Victor Facic, even he has been doing an amazing
Oh,
job
nice.
with a DevOps toolkit. So that is out there, talking about Litmus 2.0 and Orgo workflows as well. So two CNCF projects coming together, and that's awesome.
the cloud native community is it's just the best. Everyone is so awesome. So props to everyone who's either watching, chatting, speaking, commenting, discussion, anything, contributing. You're all amazing. All right,
Mhm.
let's start talking about Litmus then, and how people can contribute. So I believe
Sure, sure.
you want to share your
I'll
screen
be
first.
sharing my
Yeah.
screen. Yeah, yeah. I'll be sharing my screen. So just give me a
No,
second.
take your time. We're all good. If you are watching us today, feel free to drop any questions you have into the chat. We are keeping an eye on it. We love comments, questions, all the above. So get
Mhm.
involved.
So I hope my screen is visible.
It is up there now. Take it away, Prithvi.
Thanks a lot. So starting off, I mean, people who join in. I mean, there have been so many episodes talking about contributions to CNCF projects, and I mean, chaos engineering is a technology which was something to look forward to, as mentioned by Cheryl or Liz at so many KubeCons that have been coming up. That chaos engineering is a technology to look forward to, and I mean, cloud native chaos engineering is something which is yet to cross the adoption chasm as Prometheus or the graduating projects have already done. But yes, of course, it's coming up in a huge way, and obviously you can see with all the projects out there in the CNCF ecosystem. I mean, and even with the LFX Menti projects, the GSOC and everything coming up, that contributions are increasing to them as well. And of course, one of them is Litmus. It's a CNCF sandbox project, and it's meant. It was initially meant to curate chaos engineering for just Kubernetes, but slowly it has extended to even a non-Kubernetes cloud native scenarios, and so many other scenarios where obviously in simple layman terms, if you talk about Litmus, what exactly it is, then it's a tool set, it's a framework to curate, I mean, inject faults in the systems. For example, in the Kubernetes system, a pod delete or a container kill can be examples of what chaos experiments are, and that is what Litmus is, a chaos engineering platform to for teams as well as individuals, SREs, developers. I mean, initially it was for SREs. I mean, only SREs were meant or practicing chaos in some form or the other, but then now we have noticed that the developer persona is also shifting towards practicing chaos engineering for their systems. So that is the gist of Litmus. And talking about moving to contributing to Litmus, I mean, there are so many folks who are coming up in the community from various enterprises, companies, or even from the student part of it. I mean, there's an amazing initiative that CNCF has taken up with the cloud native students. So students are also looking forward to contributing to it. So we'll be moving part by part, of course, how people can get started with contributions and what all are the essentials to contribute to the Litmus project. So this is the website, of course, the new website, uh, which is pretty informative. I mean, it gives you an overview of the workflow diagram of how Litmus is practiced. We'll move to that. I mean, here you can see that this is the latest overview, and I mean, adopters, features, all of it is here, and some statements. But first of all, before, I mean, contributing to Litmus, what uh, most importantly is essential is to understand what exactly is chaos engineering, and how you can get started with chaos engineering, and what are you exactly contributing to. So firstly, I'll be just sharing this open source document. It was curated 2 years ago. I mean, Netflix initially discovered what chaos engineering is and started off with Chaos Monkey, and then slowly everything turned out, and there were so many more projects that came up, and even in the CNCF ecosystem. So initially, you understand what chaos is. Of course, it's the discipline or art of injecting a fault in the system deliberately to basically find out how does the system withstand these turbulent conditions or vulnerabilities when they happen in real world scenarios. And these principles help you understand chaos in practice. So I mean, there are four easy steps to be running chaos, I mean, the first you start by defining a steady state. You hypothesize around that steady state, and you hypothesize around what are the real world events or the real world scenarios that can happen. Then you introduce a fault in the system, and then there are so many real world scenarios like your servers crashing, your hardware or software going down, and then eventually you will test in production in a controllable way to identify the possible faults or vulnerabilities that can happen. That is what chaos engineering is, and these are the principles of chaos. And now moving on to what Litmus is, and the Litmus repo, how you can get involved, get started with the project. Let's take a sneak peek. So this is the main repo, of course. I mean, this is the main repository of Litmus, but I'll start off with, I mean, the Litmus GitHub main repository, I mean, where you can find the other sub repos. So this is the I mean, the main repo where there's the Litmus repository, and there are so many other repositories. I mean, the chaos operator, the chaos charts, the runner, the docs. So what all you can contribute to, we'll be seeing later on. But I mean, if you want to be contributing to any of these repos, then check out the Litmus repository at github.com/litmus chaos, and you'll be able to access all these repos. So let's get started with Litmus. So first things first, I mean, before you get started with contributions, there are two recommendations that I'll have for you. The first thing is going through the README. I mean, the README is the most helpful document in my opinion, and with all the information out there, I mean, it's there in other languages as well: Korean, Chinese, Spanish, and I think there are more languages. I mean, I'm sure there are more languages. Just give me a second. Translations, yeah. So it's in French, it's in German, it's in Russian, it's in Japanese. So any translation that helps you, you can check out the README, the translation, and then obviously there's an overview and what are the components of Litmus. I mean, there's a chaos control plane where you manage a chaos. The chaos center is present, and then it helps you construct and schedule and visualize your chaos workflow. So chaos center is something which comes out with 2.0, and it's basically the UI or main hub where SREs developers, they start inducing chaos experiments, and they can pull in chaos experiments from the chaos hub. We'll move to the hub later on, and then they can pull in the metrics and visualize what exactly is happening. And the execution plane is basically where you're executing your chaos on. I mean, it is usually it's running on Kubernetes itself, Litmus, but then you can use the API to run it on your AWS, Azure, VMware, or GCP, or even bare metal as well. So that's about the execution plane, and these are the definition of a few resources: the chaos custom resources, or the CRDs, basically, which are essential for you to run your chaos experiment. But what is important is to understand this workflow. I mean, how exactly the chaos is happening. The operator pulls in the chaos experiment from the chaos hub. The chaos engine helps run the CRs, and then the exporter basically is used to export metrics, and the chaos runner acts as a bridge between the operator and the chaos engine to run the chaos, which runs in form of a chaos cron job or experiment job, as you can see. And then the results which are provided basically tell you that if your experiment passed or failed. So that is about the README. I mean, that is where you get most of the information about each and every resource of Litmus. But we have created some resources for people who get started contributing to Litmus, or who are new, just out of college, want to contribute to the CNCF ecosystem, specifically to the cloud native chaos engineering ecosystem. We start off with Kubernetes, and then there are some CNCF based resources. But these are the chaos engineering resources, more to be added. You feel free to add them here in the resources section. So that is where you get started with what exactly chaos engineering is, and a little bit about Litmus alongside the README. And of course, if you want, you can always check out the blogs. So these are the prerequisites in terms of information that you need. I mean, what exactly has been happening in the community and what are the experiments that are out there. Each functionality has been defined in the docs as well. We'll move to that later on. But I mean, the blogs, README, and the resources are enough to give you a gist of information that is required for you to get started with Litmus. So now moving on, we'll be talking about what exactly you can contribute to, what are the steps to contribute, and what exactly is the model contributing to Litmus, how to begin, and how to get started. So I mean, there are two ways, of course. One of them is creating an issue by yourself in the issues section. I mean, we'll move to that, but either you can create an issue that you believe is already out there with the knowledge you have had about the GitHub, or you go on and basically pick an issue whichever has been put up. And I mean, I'll be recommending good first issues, of course. I mean, if you are just getting started, but there are so many issues specific to particular functionalities, what all to contribute to, and the docs, observability. That there is so much to features, bug fixes. So there is so much to contribute to that you can pick an issue, and usually what happens is, just give me a sec. David, just did my camera stop?
I think so, yes. Either that or
Is
it's
it
very, very still. I'm not sure.
is it back now?
No, you're still frozen. Let me pop it back over
Yes, sec.
here.
I hope it's better now. I'm not
No,
sure.
we can hear you. The screen share is fine, but yeah, your camera isn't updating anymore.
Mhm. It's a real issue, I guess. Then
If you want to drop off for a second and come back, that's all right. If you want to see if that helps, or we can continue, wherever you're happy with. All right, we'll give Prithvi just a moment to reload the page and see if that fixes the camera. Remember to ask any questions that you have in the chat, and I will relay them on. We'll do our best to answer anything we can about Litmus and contributing to Litmus. Welcome back.
yes, I guess broadcast is incomplete without technical issues. So yeah.
Well, yeah, apparently, according to Russ, my audio is also out of sync. So apologies about that, Russ. I will dig into that after today's session. Uh,
I hope everything is better now. The audio, the video, everything's fine.
yeah, everything looks good. Pop your
Yeah.
screen back up.
So
Yep.
So moving back to where we were, I mean, we you the that is where you can get started. Sorry for that issue. So what are the steps to contribute, and what exactly you need to address? So first things first, let's just move on to issues. I mean, there are already approximately 218. I think a few of them are resolved already, but these are the latest issues which have come up since 2.0 came out. So and most of them are bug fixes, but there are so many good first issues that can be taken up. So let's just take a look at one of the issues perhaps created by one of the community members, which is a good first issue. So I mean, as you can already see that there's an issue that has been created. There are various labels that are out there. There are, I mean, issues, there are bug fixes, there are front end issues, there are good first issues, of course. And you can, there are area specific issues. I mean, analytics, chaos charts, exporters, and there are various areas that you can pick up issues for, or artifacts like Kubernetes based Dockerfile and Makefile. There are artifacts that you can pick in. And then there are level of issues. I mean, difficult, easy. The levels are also out there, and plus with specific to GSOC or Hacktoberfest, these are issues again you can pick. And for kind as well. I mean, we have been developing a lot around kind and around the languages. I mean, Litmus is written in Go, but initially it was the experiments were written in Ansible and Python for your information. So now, if you are good with Go, I mean, if I have to talk about the prerequisites that are out there, if you're good with Go and you have got some good knowledge with Docker and Kubernetes, then I believe then that contributing to Litmus becomes easier for you. And even in Python and Ansible, the experiments have been converted to Python as well. So if you're good with Python as well, you'll it can be easier for you to contribute chaos experiments for starters. So these are the labels that are out there. And I mean, obviously, there are few issues that are created by the members, or the contributors to the project, the users and adopters, and also there are a few issues which are created by the maintainers. So let's see. I think this issue is created by one of the contributors. So you just go ahead and comment that you want to take up this issue, and if you are facing some issues, then you can always join the Slack channel or keep on commenting on what sort of an issue you have faced. And usually the participants, if they are core contributors to the project, they'll be taking part themselves. As I can see, Saranya is one of the core contributors, so she ended up assigning the issue to whoever comments on it, and then the maintainers jump in and come in to help you. So this is how you pick an issue. I mean, you pick an issue according to what are the requirements or what are the details. I mean, what exactly has happened, what is expected to be mitigated, or how you mitigate it, what is expected there. And then anything else you need to know, all that is put out in an issue, and you can pick it according to to the label that is out there, to your understanding of the project. That is what catering to issues are. And if you take a look at pull requests, how they are merged, or how folks have come up raising pull request to the project. So for example, there this is a documentation update, of course. So you select the type of change that you are making. I mean, is it a new feature? Of course, we are looking for new features and chaos experiments in uh, like specially. And then is it a bug fix, or are you fixing something? It's a breaking change, or a feature that existed but it was not working as expected by the community, or it's a documentation update. Documentation updates are usually updating the readme or anything on the doc side, or anything related to the .md files of any particular feature or experiment. So of course, I mean, you have to, I mean, one thing which we were catering to is the amount of checks that are required for uh the pull request to pass for merging. Or I mean, the idea behind it was to have a better, I mean, better code analysis, and obviously ensuring that the code being merged leads to a better code score. And of course, it obviously has to be a deeper scan where there are no bugs or issues with the code. So we ended up putting up all these checks around it, and obviously a DCO or developer certificate of uh, origin. I mean, this is what helps you understand that if your contribution out there is done by you or not. It certifies that is it's wholly done by you or partly done by you. So we had a DCO check and then a deep scan check for basically identifying any deeper issues that can be possibly mitigated. And then of course, better code hub, which approves of a better code. We wanted to improve the code score. And then these are a few checks, I mean, which go ahead with the pull request. But as you can see, this is an example of a pull request, and one of the reviewers is a maintainer, Shubham. He's a maintainer of the project. So you put out the review, and then there are a few reviews and comments that are put out there. And then basically you are able to merge your pull request. Or I mean, again, the reviews go on, and one of the maintainers jumps in to merge the pull request. So that is how it usually functions. But you, to understand where can you contribute, it's, I think, something which is important is to read the contributing document. So first things first, I mean, sign your work with the developer certificate of origin, as I mentioned. And these are the steps to submit a pull request. So you submit an issue which describes your proposed changes, or you pick an issue and start commenting on that and submit a pull request. Here are a list of the good first issues that I was talking about, the issues which you should be picking, or the issues as a new contributor to the project are pretty vital. So as you can see, the labels are already put out there. And I mean, you can pick in any issue. I think a few issues have already been picked with comments out there and people who are already assigned. So I think since last year there are a few issues that need to be mitigated, and some recent issues with 2.0 coming up. And I think even if there are issues that are not put out here, what one thing that can be pretty important for you, or one thing that you can do is join the Slack community. So I think I can share my screen to the Slack community. Just give me a sec. So perhaps the Slack community is visible. So these are the folks that are out here, and as you can see, they come up with issues, what exactly the issues are, and then how you look forward to contribute. So on the Slack, obviously it's on the communities channel. So this is the other channel. This is only for PRs or contributed contribution related discussions. So what you can do is join in these two channels, the Litmus and the Litmus Dev channel. You can come up and you can talk about your PR which you have already put in. You can talk about the issue that can you want to, I mean, consider taking up, or you want help around. And then the maintainers are obviously out there to help you get assigned that sort of an issue, or you know, the maintainers help you basically understand what is the code, what is the code base, and where exactly a mitigation is required, or where exactly you can basically contribute. So that's about the Slack channel. I think the Slack community is the best place for Litmus community, at least. I mean, over the last few months there have been so many contributions from the student community especially, so that makes it more special, of course. But the Slack is the place to get an issue assigned, or get started with your contributions, meet the maintainers, talk to the core contributors to get further help around contributing. So where exactly can you contribute to? Let's take a look at that. How exactly you can contribute to, and what are the places that exactly need contributions. So of course there are the chaos charts, which consist of the chaos experiments, or basically consist the charts for various chaos experiments that are out there, and various more to be added. The chaos workflows, what exactly are workflows? I mean, workflows are nothing but, you know, various chaos experiments pulled in together to create a scenario which runs according to a particular use case. I mean, you run them in parallel or series. That is what happens with Litmus. The testing tools are nothing but, I mean, various tools, for example, or applications which are used to test Litmus. Alongside that, it can be a sock shop application, or you can add your new application. I mean, as of now, there are three main applications that have been added around testing. So it's the sock shop application, which is basically an e-commerce website of socks, where you know, the socks are being sold, and you use Litmus to curate chaos there and bring the website down. Or a bank of anthos application, it's another application where basically it's a banking application where you can actually use chaos to create chaos around various banking functionalities, such as withdrawal or display of balance, or deposits. So let's get started one by one. I mean, let's get started with chaos charts. To understand chaos charts, of course, first of all, you need to understand how these charts are pulled in or installed. But before that, we'll just take a look at the chaos hub. It's a marketplace for the chaos experiments. It's only provided by the Litmus project. No other project provides. I mean, no other chaos engineering project provides a marketplace for you to understand. So as you can see, the chaos hub, it's full of experiments. I mean, there are experiments from generic to application based Cassandra, Kafka, CodeDNS, to platform based such as AWS, VMware. So these are the experiments, and a lot of them have been contributed by the community as well. Community members have come forward to contribute experiments on AWS or on the generic side. So what exactly is important for you is first, obviously, taking a look at these experiments, what exactly they are, or what exactly is the idea behind it. I mean, as you can see, a pod delete experiment, what exactly it does, and I mean, it helps obviously disrupt a pod, and there are videos around it, a lot of experiments. You can watch the videos. I mean, if and how exactly it's being deployed. I mean, if I just zoom this a little bit, not sure. Mhm. So as you can see, I mean, what are the platforms that this is feasible for, and what are the useful links. This is the source code. You can find the source code to each and every experiment. So I mean, pod delete, what is the description? It causes a pod failure, and here you can find the documentation link, or oh, I guess the docs are changed. Apologies, I'll go to the docs, but here you
Contributions
can
welcome.
find that. So here you can find the code for the experiment. I mean, it's written in Go, as you can see, and basically that helps you. I mean, pod delete is the basic experiment that started. I mean, when Litmus started off back in 2018, it started off as a project to test OpenEBS, which is another CNCF project based on cloud native databases. So the pod delete experiment was written back then, and you just, I mean, import a few packages, and then you create a function of the experiment, and basically this is something which is done for the pod delete. But this is how you put the idea, or bring in the idea of writing a chaos experiment, because I believe that is the most important contribution to Litmus, that is an experiment. And you lately, I mean, there have been contributions based on Redis. So what are the experiments that can be contributed to, or how do they align to the future roadmap? I mean, contributing to Redis, and contributing Redis based experiments, Jenkins based experiments, experiments based on MongoDB, experiments based on other projects. Let's say curating chaos on an application, on a particular application, on a particular projects. For example, as you can see, I think at the chaos hub, you were able to see that there were experiments related to OpenEBS, the project it started off testing. So I mean, if yes, as you can see, there are projects related to OpenEBS, and similarly, the need of the hour is to curate chaos experiments to specific applications. So one of the contributors just came out and talked about creating chaos for SQL, MySQL, as you say. So even that is a possibility. So that is where you need to understand by checking out the code for one experiment. I think that gives out enough information, and then slowly you take the look at various functionalities. You run a chaos experiment. How is it working? Is it working fine or not? And then you basically start contributing. But there is a specific contributing document for Litmus Go, where you understand how you can contribute to I mean, Litmus Go, or chaos experiments. I mean, the steps are similar. What are the steps to contribute? You find an issue or create an issue. You claim the issue by commenting. You fork the GitHub repository. You create a branch, make your changes, and then the coding guidelines, where you obviously the coding guidelines are based on Go code review comments, or Peter Boujon's Go best practices. And obviously, I took you through one of the experiments where you can again take a look at the styling, take a look at how the code is written or merged, and and basically send in your pull request. And the DCO certification is obviously there. And what is exactly necessary, or what are the prerequisites for setting up your developer's environment? You have to be familiar with Go, Docker containers, and Kubernetes. That is for contributing a chaos experiment. Other than this, I mean, there are various contributions you can make to the other side of things, to to the various other functionalities of Litmus. So getting back to this document, now moving on to the chaos workflows. Obviously, a workflow, as I mentioned, is nothing but a set of actions strung together to create a chaos impact. And how does a workflow exactly look? It looks something like this. This is an Orgo workflow which is, I mean, created in series as well as parallel. So this is how you visualize a chaos workflow. But initially, you understand by running a chaos workflow, how is it run, and how you get started with it. You install an Orgo workflow infrastructure by creating an Orgo namespace, and then you create some CRDs after your workflow controller is deployed. And obviously, Litmus provides an RBAC. I don't think any other chaos engineering provides one, but I mean, for security purposes, or obviously an RBAC is provided. So as you can see, this is a code, or this is the lines of code used to install a sample nginx application. So you refer to the documentation, of course. And now moving on to the documentation, this is the latest documentation for Litmus. I mean, this is the documentation which comes out with 2.0. So it helps you get started. There are a few tutorials that are out there already, and one of them is obviously getting started with Litmus, how you can install Litmus. You can install Litmus either using Helm or using kubectl, of course. And then once you are able to install Litmus, you verify your installation. If your front end and your MongoDB and your server is running or not, you configure your project. You are welcome to the Chaos Center. This is the snapshot of the Chaos Center, how exactly it looks, and you set a new password, and you are welcomed here. And this is where you can run your chaos experiments. So once you are obviously done using that, you just give me a sec. Too many tabs. So yeah, once you are obviously done identifying how Litmus is run, then it becomes easier for you to understand what exactly chaos workflows are. And obviously this is the readme for that. And then you move on to the workflows that have already been, I mean, contributed. There are Orgo native. The workflow for pod delete has already been contributed with Orgo. And I mean, Orgo workflows, we chose Orgo workflows because the idea was to integrate with other cloud native projects, and eventually the idea is to integrate with more projects like Fluentd, Crossplane, and all. So even that can be a contribution if you talk about contributing to an integration. So I mean, I'll just take you through one contribution as an integration. I mean, there are integrations with Captain, Kubler, but as you can see, this is a contribution with Octeto Cloud. So we integrated with the Octeto pipeline. Octeto is a developer meant for cloud native development, and these sort of integrations were again contributed by the community. Ramiro, he's been an amazing contributor to the Litmus project. And similarly, we look forward to contributions and where you can contribute or how to get started. Let's say you are a core contributor to Falco, or let's say you're a core contributor to Crossplane. So this can also be a possibility where you contribute to a project integration with Litmus, and chaos can be induced in that project. Or there can be a functionality behind. I mean, for example, there's a contribution that is already going on, Kyverno with Litmus. So what exactly is that contribution? That is where you contribute Litmus chaos based policies for Kyverno. So again, whoever is wanting to run Litmus, or whoever is wanting to run Kyverno, they can, I mean, for Litmus they can use Kyverno based policies, and then they can use chaos tests alongside Kyverno. So that turns out to again be an amazing contribution. So these are a few key points for contributing. But other than that, I mean, there are two things. I mean, how to contribute a chaos experiment. There's a Litmus SDK, which you can obviously run to contribute. But I mean, there are few factions where you can contribute to. So I mean, it's observability, the chaos control plane, the agent plane, and documentation and tutorials. So let's get started with the chaos exporter. I mean, I have actually covered a lot in terms of what exactly are the repos that you can contribute to. But I mean, this is one important thing, the monitoring side of things. I mean, folks need to, if you have knowledge with Prometheus and Golang and Kubernetes, then I think, and CloudWatch as well. So we use Prometheus as well as the CloudWatch exporter to export the chaos metrics. So either of it is good if you have knowledge with Prometheus, or I mean, you are good with metrics, then you can come ahead and contribute various, I mean, dashboards, or how the metrics are being pulled in, the experiment scope metrics or application scope metrics, namespace scope metrics. These are what can be possible lines of contribution. But cluster scope metrics, of course. So that is where again you get started by checking what are the contributions or issues that are already out there. I mean, the results that, I mean, that's a very old contribution. But I think with metrics and observability improving, there is already option for observing chaos on the Litmus portal itself, the 2.0 portal. So you can check what is missing already out there, and then I think that helps you contribute to Litmus better. Perhaps I can take some questions now. I think I have covered so much, and it might have been a bit confusing for folks out here. So I think, David, perhaps if we have any questions or anything, we can take it up. I'll have some water, and then we can continue.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've covered an awful. I'll take some of the credit here. I'll just steal it. But no, Prithvi, you've covered an awful lot there with how people can get involved in a project. Um, there's a fair number of repositories there. I think I also like the availability of programming languages. Like, people can bring their Python knowledge or their Go knowledge or their, even their database knowledge, because all this expertise that people have in so many surrounding ecosystems, chaos and contributing to the chaos projects is a great way to get involved. Like if you have operational knowledge of MySQL or MongoDB or Postgres or Redis or Nginx, there's all these things that can have very specific uh, chaos experiments developed for them without actually having to be able to contribute to the core Litmus project, which I think is really exciting because, again, it doesn't matter what your experience is, you can bring it to the Litmus project and make people's lives easier or better, or maybe worse for a while, because the first time you deploy Litmus to your production stack, you may have some problems, but you're building up that operational knowledge through all these experiments, and I think that's just really, really cool. I don't think that's it's not something that we've seen with some of the other projects in LGTM. They all require knowledge of Go, or they all require knowledge of this very specific thing. And Litmus is much broader than that, much wider than that, much more inclusive with regards to skills, which I think is really exciting. So very cool.
I mean, the idea behind it was actually making it open for contributions and bringing in more contributions. And I think one specific thing I wanted to cover was, I mean, the idea of special interest groups. I mean, it started from the CNCF and Kubernetes, and
Mhm.
we wanted to create various special interest groups based on deployment documentation. The documentation group is the most active one. I mean, Divya, she's a CNCF ambassador.
Yeah.
She joins in every Mondays. We have the doc calls every Monday, and then we have calls for each and every special interest group. So just taking you through, if let's say a special interest group, there are goals which are set. and that there are chairs and leads from various companies. I mean, Divya is from HSBC, is from AWS, and then there are obviously repositories which are set up, and there's a meeting cadence. So I mean, there are various document SIGs that are also helpful. They started off last year, but I think it's important to cover it here because we are talking about contributions. So there's a charter which we have set up, and each and every group has a specific motto or goal, where we cover orchestration, observability, CI/CD, obviously chaos is coming up in your CI pipelines, and then testing, how you can test the various chaos experiments, how can you check various integrations, deployments. So all of it is out there, and obviously there's a community group as well, where I mean, community more or less is handled by me. So obviously on the community side, if you talk about contributions, then it can be blogs if you want to get started writing a blog, or if you want to join an event or curate a meetup. I mean, that is also one way of a contribution, of course. That's also a contribution. But other than that, these six are pretty vital if you want to get started with any sort of contribution. And other than that, I hope that the contributing doc helps you get started, and eventually perhaps you can just join in the Slack channel. You can put forward what exactly you want to contribute to. I mean, 2.0 is vast. There are so many more issues that are going to come in the next quarter or with this quarter as well. I think, I mean, it just released 5 days ago. The contributors, the maintainers are taking a break, perhaps, I don't know, but then there are many more issues that are up to come, and I think I look forward to some amazing contributions on Litmus.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll highlight a couple of things you said there because I think they're really important. The first one, those contributing documents that you walked us through, like those were really great and depth. Everyone should go and read them before they start submitting to submitting pull request to the Litmus project. Another thing you said there about writing blogs as well. Like I think it's really important that we emphasize that no code contributions are amazing. Like you don't have to contribute to the core product. You can literally just go onto Twitter and share links or talk about the project or write a blog or record a video and publish it onto YouTube or Twitch. Like these are all contributions to the community, to the project, and they help build awareness for all of these really cool things as well. So yeah, even if you don't want to go and write 1,000 lines of Go code and open up a request, just go write about the project, kick the tires on it, play with it, open issues, share your knowledge. I think that's a wonderful way to contribute as well.
Indeed, well said, David.
Awesome.
That's what it is.
All right. If you are watching us now, you've got about 1 more minute to get any questions into the chat. Uh, is there anything else you would like to show us, Ruby?
Perhaps I think this is good. Perhaps I can just take a look at the community section.
Of
That's
course.
that's how you can get involved with the community, and obviously join the Slack channel, check the contributing docs on GitHub, and there are meetups and sync ups happening. So on the third Wednesday of every month, 9:30 a.m. PST, 6:30 p.m. CEST, we have our community calls. So to get started with contributions, if you directly want to meet the maintainers and have a discussion over a meetup, then that's the best place to join, or the chaos engineering meetups. And then you can check the blog section. So I think one important aspect that I would like to cover is that even the blogs are contributed in an open source way. So if you want to contribute a blog, what you can do is you can just create a post, I mean, on dev.to, and you can use the tag hashtag litmus chaos. So if you use this tag, then it gets added to the blog section of Litmus automatically. You just have to use this tag and write the content. And I mean, obviously, if it's a spam content, then we end up reporting to the dev.do admins. But as you can see, under this tag are all the blogs that are contributed by the community to Litmus. So these are community contributions. One of them, this is, I think, one of the students who has contributed introduction to Litmus and chaos engineering, and there are so many blogs that can be contributed. So on the blog front, even that is in a way, open source, or open for contributions. So I think that is it. Take a look at the Chaos Hub, the documentation, get involved with the community, join the Slack, meet the maintainers, and obviously talk to them, get yourself an issue assigned, or pick an issue which is already out there. And obviously, the more you study about Litmus, the better you get with contributing chaos experiments and contributions.
Awesome. Uh, Thank you for all of that. I've never seen that before, using a tag on dev.to to populate a blog. That's a really cool idea, because then you can just encourage everybody to go and contribute as well without any kind of cognitive overhead of learning how to open a pull request. They can just go write on a platform that's really good at writing. So
Mhm. And I think one last thing perhaps you can do is take part in discussions as well. This is something I forgot to mention, but as you can see, there are so many discussions that have been created, discussions around docs, new design for 2.0 docs. Even the docs discussions were contributed by community members, and there are so many new discussions that have been created alongside the release. So I mean, 2.0 is out. That's a discussion. The resources that you can contribute to, it becomes a discussion. And even if you want to create your own discussion, you can go ahead and create a discussion, and that can be on the contributors front, where folks can understand where they can contribute to, what sort of a contribution is required, and what sort of an issue you can pick up. These discussions also help to gauge the open source community and bring in contributions. So yeah.
awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I know it's getting late, so I'm going to let you go and enjoy your weekend now. But it was a great session. Thank you for sharing all of that knowledge with everybody. I hope people are excited and pumped and start contributing to the Litmus project. It is an awesome project with some awesome people. Uh, so have a great weekend to everyone that watched. Uh, See you all next time.
Thanks a lot, David. Thanks a lot, everyone. See
Okay,
you. Bye
thank you.
bye.
Bye all.